Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to a place where rivers didn't just shape a city, they literally became its roads. Seriously, imagine standing on a busy street knowing that just a few centuries ago, the very spot you're on was a bustling international harbor.
So how on earth does that even happen? To answer that, we need to travel to the historic city of Tainan in Taiwan. It's here that this incredible story of geography, trade, and just wild transformation is written right into the pavement of the city's oldest neighborhoods. Okay, so our story starts way before any ships or traders arrived. It begins with a force of nature so powerful it actually built the land the city would eventually stand on. This isn't really a story about people at first, it's about a river and the sea. Just try to wrap your head around this. 6,000 years ago, where the busy streets of Tainan are today, there was nothing but the open water of a gigantic coastal bay. The city just wasn't there. It was all underwater. The architect of all this new land was the Xingwen River. Now, the locals had this perfect nickname for it, the Green Blind Snake. Why? Because it carried this immense amount of mud and sand down from the mountains, relentlessly and kind of blindly pushing the coastline out, year after year after year.
So this timeline really puts millennia into perspective. For centuries, that Green Blind Snake River slowly built this beautiful, sheltered lagoon called the Taijing Inland Sea. I mean, a perfect natural harbor. But then, get this, a single catastrophic flood in 1823 dumps so much silt that it basically turns huge parts of that sea into solid ground almost overnight.
So you've got this brand new sea, basically a gift from a river. How does that become a critical hub for global commerce? Well, it starts attracting some major players from halfway across the world. So in the 17th century, the Dutch show up. They took one look at this natural harbor and knew it was gold. They built a fort, set up a major trading post, and pretty quickly, Tainan's inland sea became this vital link in a global supply chain connecting east and west.
And we're not talking about just some simple local trade here. This was a truly global marketplace. I mean, think about it. Deer skins from Taiwan were being shipped to Japan to make armor for samurai. Sugar was being sent all the way to Persia. And in return, you had spices from Southeast Asia and silk from China all flowing through this one port. It was a crossroads of empires, for real.
Of course, a port this valuable was never going to stay in one set of hands for long. In 1661, a Ming loyalist named Koxinga sailed his fleet right into the Taijing Inland Sea. After a long siege, he took control of Taiwan from the Dutch. The port's importance didn't fade one bit, it just changed management.
But hey, remember our friend the Green Blind Snake? Well, that river never stopped working. And soon, the very same force that created this amazing harbor started to threaten its existence, posing a huge problem for the city's merchants.
So nature was basically closing the front door. The sea was getting way too shallow for the big ships. But the city's merchants weren't just going to pack up and leave. In this incredible show of ingenuity, they funded and dug 5 new back doors, man-made canals to bypass all that silt and reconnect their warehouses to the ocean.
This whole network of canals became known as Wuqiaogang, or the 5 channels. And it wasn't just a port anymore. It became the city's absolute economic engine. An entire downtown just sprang up around these waterways. It was where all the action was.
And what's really cool is how specialized this new district was. Each channel kind of developed its own personality, its own focus. You know, if you wanted sugar, you went to the Anhai channel. Need lumber? That's the photo channel. It was this highly organized, super efficient system. And here is a fantastic little piece of history. Ever wonder how places get their names? The Fotu channel was named after the Spanish silver coins they used for trade. The local traders thought the Spanish king's curly wig on the coin looked like the Buddha's hair, so they called the coins Fotu, or Buddha head silver. A major international port, named for a European king's hairdo. You can't make this stuff up.
But you know how these things go. This golden age, built on a brilliant engineering solution, was still at the mercy of time and that relentless river. The landscape was still changing, and technology was about to change right along with it.
Fast forward to 1922. The Japanese are now running Taiwan, and they build a new, modern canal. It was deeper, wider, way more efficient. And almost overnight, the 5 channels became totally obsolete. Their waters grew stagnant, and these once vital commercial arteries, they were eventually just paved over or turned into city sewers.
The story of Shennong Street is the perfect then and now of this whole transformation. It starts as the bustling gateway to the 5 channels, then, as the channels silt up, it's abandoned, and finally, the old riverbed is just paved over and the waterway literally becomes the street that people walk on today.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The very ground that tourists and locals walk on today is where international trading ships once dropped anchor. Just let that sink in for a second. It's an incredible thought. For a long time, the old 5 Channels area was kind of seen as a relic, outdated and forgotten. But the story doesn't end in decay. It enters a whole new chapter, one about revival and light.
You see, the community showed this incredible resilience. Instead of letting their history just be forgotten, they decided to celebrate it. They brought life back to the area not with water, but with light, through the annual Shennong Street Lantern Festival.
And this is not some big corporate event, no way. It's a true grassroots movement. We're talking over 200 students from local schools working directly with the people living in 64 different homes to design, paint, and hang these beautiful lanterns, literally lighting up their own neighborhood's past. And what's amazing is that the lanterns themselves are tied to this ancient myth about saving the world. The legend says people lit lanterns to trick the angry Jade Emperor into thinking the world was already on fire, saving it from destruction. It's a story about bringing light to avoid a disaster. A pretty fitting symbol for a neighborhood reclaiming its identity, right?
So this festival has become this amazing symbol of hope and continuity. It proves that even when the waters of commerce recede and the channels run dry, the spirit and culture of a place can be reignited by its own community. The light has really returned to the old port. The incredible transformation of Tainan's 5 channels, from a sea to a port to a modern city street, is just such a powerful reminder. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? History isn't always in a museum. Sometimes it's right there, just beneath your feet, waiting to be rediscovered.